Hi and welcome back to Low-Carb Abode. I'm Ludmilla and today we're going to make delicious keto pumpkin cheesecake bars. You won't need any sugar or flour to make this recipe. And I'm just starting off by lining my 9x13-inch cake pan with parchment paper and then jumping right into making my crust. I need 1 egg, to which I'm adding a 1/3 cup of melted butter and 2 cups of almond flour, and I'm using blanched almond flour. But if you only have unblanched almond meal around, this will actually work for this recipe too. And then I'm adding a 1/4 cup of granular erythritol to sweeten our crust a bit. And now we just need to combine all these ingredients until the mixture looks nice and smooth. This crust is really easy to prepare and I like using it for my keto cheesecakes like my keto meringue cheesecake. The crust is buttery and sweet and tastes very similar to a traditional short crust pastry. Once the ingredients are all mixed together, the dough should feel a lot like Play-Doh, and then it's time to press the crust mixture into our prepared pan. And I'm just using my hands to press out the mixture, and I'm pressing out from the middle. The dough is very pliable, so it's pretty easy to do. Make sure that you press all the way to the edges and corners of your pan, and try to keep the thickness of your crust as uniform as possible. If you are new to my channel Low-Carb Abode, make sure to subscribe today, and that way you will never miss another of my keto-friendly recipes again. Now we can go ahead and bake this crust for 10 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit. Once the crust is baked, remove the pan from the oven and set it aside. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and prepare our filling. Since this is a cheesecake, of course we need cream cheese for this filling, and I'm using 16 ounces of softened cream cheese. And to this I'm adding 1 cup of Greek yogurt, and do make sure to use the thick Greek yogurt and not the natural runny yogurt. I'm also adding 3 egg yolks. I used the egg whites earlier to make hamburger buns. My low-carb sweetener today is Swerve Sweetener Confectioners, and I'm using 1 cup of that, as well as 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And now I'm just mixing it all together with my hand mixer until the filling looks very smooth. I don't want to see any big clumps in it, and that's why it's so important to use softened cream cheese. Once your filling looks creamy, it is ready to be spread over your crust. Our cheesecake pumpkin bars consist of 2 layers. The first layer is a simple vanilla cheesecake filling, and the second layer will be our pumpkin filling. We're actually going to make our pumpkin filling with part of our cheesecake filling, and that's why I'm only going to add 2/3 of that filling that I just made onto the crust. And I'm spreading it out right to the edges just with a spoon. You could also use a spatula, and I'm trying to spread it over the crust as evenly as possible. This first layer really tastes just like regular cheesecake filling, and I have been using versions of this filling recipe for low-carb cheesecakes that I have made in the past. I like that it's not as dense as other cheesecake fillings that I have tried in the past, and that's because of the Greek yogurt that we're using. Okay, now we can make our pumpkin layer. For this I'm adding 2/3 cup of pure canned pumpkin puree to the remaining filling. I'm also adding some pumpkin spices, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/8 teaspoon of allspice, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. And now we just need to stir it well until this filling looks nice and smooth. And that's how easy it is to make our second layer, the pumpkin cheesecake layer. And that's the layer that makes this cheesecake perfect for the fall season. We're now ready to pour this filling, the second layer, over our first layer. And again, I'm smoothing it all out. And this time I'm using a spatula to spread it all the way to the edges. Again, I'm trying to keep this layer as evenly as possible. And I'm also being careful not to mix together the two layers. Because at the end, what I want are cheesecake bars with two visible layers. However, if it does happen that the two layers are mixed up a little bit during this process, don't worry about it too much. It's still going to taste amazing. And some nice swirls actually may look quite pretty in it. And now our cake is ready to be baked at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. After baking, I let the cake cool down completely and also chilled it in the fridge for an hour. This is a must for cheesecakes, as otherwise the filling will not be set. To serve the cake, I'm cutting it into 12 more or less square bars. And each of these bars has only about 5 net carbs, making it a perfect keto dessert. They taste great with a hot cup of tea or coffee. Maybe a dollop of whipped cream if you like. I'm just going to serve mine with the dusting of powdered erythritol. Leftovers can be stored in your fridge in a covered container for up to a week. These pumpkin cheesecake bars will make the perfect dessert for any of your fall celebrations. The crust is buttery and the two eye-catching layers are irresistibly creamy. Enjoy the fall season and let me know what you think of this recipe in the comments below. Talk to you soon. Bye.